Hey, let's talk about games.
Hello there my friend, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking through the incredibly fun heavy weapons specialist. This guy really lives up to his name. He carries around all of the heavy weapons and he does amazing amounts of damage. You will literally get 2 or 3 times as many kills as anyone else with this character because he dishes out bullets like they're nothing. Now let's get straight to talking about his abilities. Number 1 may not seem that amazing. It gives you an increased rate of fire with your primary weapon, but it is very useful when you've got a large group of enemies that you're struggling to kill quick enough, or if an enemy hive lord or something big and scary runs at you. You can kill it a lot quicker with this and it will dramatically increase your rate of fire, so keep it in mind. The second ability is the proximity mine, and it's not as bad as I used to make out. It does actually deal a fair amount of damage, and even on the harder difficulties, it will kill things when they run over it. Maybe not everything, but it will still buy you a little bit of time. It's also really handy to use if you happen to be reloading or if you've jammed your weapon. That way you can clear those last couple of mobs, and I know what you're thinking, don't worry about friendly fire or stepping on your own, it's not going to blow up in your face, promise. Now for the last ability. This one is also pretty darn handy. This actually makes you almost immune to weapon jams, and it increases your weapon stability. So if you're trying to shoot something in a little bit of range, or if you just want to hit something more often with a goddamn autocannon, well, you're going to hit it more often with this. It makes the recoil next to none, and it really helps you focus that damage on a single target. Absolutely lovely. Let's get talking about the weapons now, because with this character, the weapons really are what makes this character who he is. You start off with the amazing, I know I said auto earlier, but it's an assault cannon. 400 rounds in this beauty, 400 rounds. That's a lot of dead tyrannids because it only takes a couple of hits. Good luck hitting them though, but it only takes a couple of hits to kill a bug. It's so much fun to use, you rarely have to reload, but watch out for jams because it always jams at the most inconvenient times. Next up, the next thing you're going to unlock is going to be a plasma cannon. Now, be a little bit careful with this weapon, especially when playing with friendly fire turned on, because it only takes 1 hit to blow up your teammate. Honest, it is very dangerous and the splash damage is a lot bigger than it looks, so be careful. A little pro tip for this weapon is try shooting some of the walls around the enemies that are charging towards you if you feel like you're either going to miss them or they're getting a little bit too close. That way you can still do a bit of damage, but honestly this weapon is amazing. It just takes a lot of care to use because once the enemies get up in your face, if that friendly fire is turned on, you're going to kill yourself before you manage to peel anything, so just be careful. The last ability is the Vengeance Cannon. Now, instead of having a 400 round magazine for this, we go all the way down to a very meager 65. However, it is very penetrating in terms of anti-armor, and it's very good for killing some of the larger bugs. So I'd really recommend it. It's a very strong weapon. A little bit more situational. You'll obviously be reloading more often, but it's very usable. Now we move on to the gameplay tips. Now, number 1 is one of the more important tips for anyone within the game, but generally as this class, the heavy weapon specialist, you're going to be at the front of the queue most of the time. You're going to be standing at the front, and I would really implore you when standing in a corridor to stand on the left hand side. Now, that is not because I'm British. I swear that is nothing to do with my nationality. But you are right-handed, and if you are at the front and you are standing on the right-hand side, then people have a really hard time shooting around you. If you're at the front, just be chivalrous, stand on the left, and then they can poke their right arm around you and still have a chance at actually shooting some bugs too. But that being said, if you want to just whore all of the kills, stand on the right-hand side and just put everyone else on mute. Now, tip number 2 is that your skills aren't necessarily 100% essential for fighting. It's actually your weapon that does the majority of the stuff. But that being said, when you see an enemy that requires a certain weapon, feel free to change your weapon, because really having those skills put on cooldown is a small price to pay for having the right tool for the job. So you see a big enemy, lots of armoured stuff, whop out that Vengeance Cannon. If you're fighting off a giant horde that just keeps coming, get out that assault cannon. Obviously don't pull your pants down in the middle of nowhere and try and change weapon. Try and find somewhere safe first, or maybe ask your teammates for a little bit of a cover. Doesn't take too long, but honestly it's enough to die. And on the subject of dying, this guy's weapon is incredibly slow to get started. It has a long wind up for both his Vengeance Cannon and his auto cannon as well. So that being said, it's a really good idea to look around the map and make sure you have an idea where the enemies are coming from and when they're going to be turning around a corner. That way you can pre-charge up this weapon and get it ready to roll. Just don't look at that minimap too often because the lictors won't always show on there. And if you're staring at the minimap for too long, they may well pop out of stealth and shove a couple of spikes up your bum, which unfortunately will kill you in one hit. Sad face. And my very last tip is to keep a handy bag of useful in-character phrases that you can pull out of the bag when your weapon jams. It's going to happen often, it's going to happen at the least convenient times, but everyone loves someone that stays in character, so make sure when your weapon jams that you moan about your tech priest not taking good care of your weapons, or that your previous mark blah 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 was far better. Everyone loves a role player. Guys, there's not much more to say about this character. He is just a case of walking around the map, holding that left button and going to town on the enemies. Loads of fun, and if you don't get the most kills with this character, you got to figure out what you're doing wrong, because this guy rocks. Take care of yourself, guys. Next up, we're going to be doing the melee class, the assault. That's going to be a headache. And then we got the psyker, so stay tuned. Remember, like and subscribe. We've got loads of other videos coming too on Martyr, patch coming out in about 2 weeks. Really looking forward to that. Take care of yourself, my friend. See you next time.